bleeds, we can kill it.
Wolfman's got nards.
Nobody trusts anybody now.
Come on, you ape! You want to live forever?
Now what?
But no matter what happens, Godzilla will live.
And welcome back to the 80th episode of the Monster Movie Stompdown. You got your host, Sludge, here. Co-host across from me.
It's Mark.
The master from Texas.
Ruben.
And man, stoked to finally jump to. It's been a busy month, you know what I mean, with the episodes, and especially doing the Witch House episode, which thank you everybody who's listened to that and helped support that. I know we appreciate it. And then Bobby and James definitely appreciate it. And we've gotten a lot of ton of feedback. It's been really cool. So thank you guys. I hope you all enjoyed it. But now it is giant monster movie time. Finally. So
back at it.
Back to our origins.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, back to our origins.
Back to how we started. And we've got a good one here. Rampage, 2018 film with The Rock. What was the tagline for it? Big meets bigger or something like that? Wasn't it something like that on the poster?
Oh, I don't remember. I don't remember what
because it was a definite ploy at The Rock, and then of course you got George and the other ones. You know, it's like big meets bigger. I'm like, that's clever. So yeah, stoked to do Rampage. Very happy for that one actually because it was just super fun. But before we jump into that, how are you guys doing?
Are you talking to us?
Well, yeah. You know,
well,
I'm talking to you
get,
guys. I'm looking right at both of you.
I'm doing great. It's a typical Texas over here. It's today it was I think it was 89. Tomorrow it's going to be barely 50 for a high. We've been dropping 30, 40 degrees from one day to another. I was actually working on my yard this afternoon before this podcast. That's how warm, and shorts because it was that warm.
Tomorrow I'm
going to have to get my jacket out. Yeah, I'm going to get my jacket out. Then it's going to warm up for a couple hours, and then it's another front comes in. So it's up and down here, but you know that's Texas for you.
Well, that's Tennessee all the time, man. You never know what's going to get. My wife's always like, why don't you check the weather for tomorrow? I'm like, because it ain't going to matter. It's going to change 15 million times.
There you go.
Well, I think the other day, was it last Wednesday? I don't know what day it was. It was the high was supposed to be 61 degrees, and we didn't make 38. I mean, we weren't even close, man. We weren't even close.
That 61 might have been overnight.
Yeah,
because that's the caveat. They go, well, it's going to be 61, but it's going to happen at 3 a.m. And I'm like, man, just come on, man. But it's it's just one of those. It's been a crazy week, but we're going to be about halfway through it tomorrow. So today we're recording Tuesday night for our listeners. So
yep. So y'all hear it. Always Tuesday recordings for us, but y'all hear it on Saturday. So and we do that for a reason. Yeah, I mean, we especially with the network shows, we actually, and I don't even know if you guys know this, we all record at different times previous to the release dates, but we release the shows on specific dates. That way we don't overrun other shows.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you got this show from the network releasing Monday, this one releasing Tuesday, yada, yada, yada. So it's worked out that way very, very well. So
keep it busy.
We got a lot of great shows on the network, I gotta say.
Oh, ton, man.
Listening to
especially
I've been listening to them, and
I love the new guys, man. Flynn and Jeff shows.
Oh, really?
Especially Tales from the Haunt. Like if y'all haven't checked out Tales from the Haunt,
I haven't checked that out yet. I need to.
So cool, man. Like. When I heard the concept about it being the life of a haunt actor and these haunt attractions, and they're going to be getting guests from like all across the country from different haunted house attractions and things like that, I was like, that sounds cool. Then I listened to the episode, and I was just sucked in. You know what I mean? Listening to Jeff's experience, and I haven't had a chance to listen to episode 2 yet from Flynn's experience, but I'm super stoked. It's a good show, so definitely go show them some support. So, but hey,
I haven't listened to them yet, but I did listen to Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling, and I freaked out.
Oh, that episode was great.
Oh, man. I just sat there. And I listened to a lot of these podcasts, excuse me, driving. I think I've mentioned it before. So, like, I'm driving, and if they run longer than an hour, then I get to my destination, and then I sometimes have to listen to the second half or whatever later on. But I listened to Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling, man. As soon as I got to my destination, excuse me, I got off, and First thing I did is turn that thing back on so I could finish listening to it.
Dude, it was good.
It was just
very
awesome.
good.
Yeah. Of course, it touches a lot of stuff that I just grew up with. So, man, I just loved it.
Yeah, make sure you guys check all these new shows out. They're absolutely awesome. So, and speaking of new things, we have got something new, and we've talked about it on the Facebook group. If you are not part of our Facebook group or Instagram page, make sure you go follow us and join the group, because we do give extra content that you can only find there. So we have a new monthly contest coming out, and it is starting this episode. That is going to be called the RetroNews Contest. And not going to say when, but somewhere in the middle of this episode, we're going to get a retro piece of news. You're going to get a news interruption, and that news interruption is going to describe a specific monster movie without giving away the name. So your job, if you want to win the Monster Movie Stompdown prize pack that we're going to be giving away monthly, is to be the first one to comment on the group or the Instagram page what movie the Retro News segment was about. So make sure you're listening, pay attention to it.
Check it out.
Yep, because the first person that guesses, talks about it and brings it or comments about it on the group page or the Instagram, you will be the lucky winner of the Monster Movie Stompdown prize pack. And again, we'll be doing this once a month, and it just happens randomly. From here on out, we're not telling you what episode it's going to be on. We're not saying anything else. It's just going to pop up.
Can me and Ruben get in on that too?
No, I'm not telling you.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I guess I better tell you guys. Probably a good idea. So, but yeah, so it's going to be super fun. Hopefully, you guys enjoy these prize packs. I think they're pretty cool. We're setting up a pretty cool.
I do promise you this: as far as the prize pack goes, Sludge will not be sending the Celine Dion cassette.
No, I'm sorry.
He's not going to part with that, Mark. He's not going to part with that.
He won't give it up.
That's the first one. That's the first thing.
You might get a bootleg. You might get a bootleg copy of it, but you're not going to get the original. Come on.
Yeah.
So, but I have a question. So, what are they going to comment on when we release the episode?
So after that's right. I'm sorry. So after I release the episode, I will put on the Facebook group and the Instagram page the actual Retro News clip itself. And you guys get to comment on that post on Instagram or Facebook group. And the first person, whether it's Instagram or Facebook, I'll check the times. First person to nail the movie, who says it correctly, gets the prize pack. So
there you go.
We'll make sure you guys have the opportunity. So, all right, well, let's jump into it. I'm ready for some giant monster action, especially when it's video game related. This one, again, is Rampage, and let's just dive right into it.
Let's do it.
Here comes the trailer.
I rescued George when he was 2 years old. He's not just a friend. He's family. Don't move a muscle.
Are you crazy?
No!
Don't move!
Okay. Very funny. You and I laughing at your joke. New guy, he no laugh. He cry. You can get up now.
And check your diaper. Come on. Let's go.
Got your message about George. You okay?
I don't know.
George? It's okay.
Is it me or is he considerably bigger?
No, he's definitely bigger. I need to find someone who knows exactly what the hell this thing is.
I found her. No, that's a lie. Technically, she found us.
What's happening to my friend?
Are you familiar with genetic editing? Changes will be incredibly unpredictable. Increased strength,
George!
speed, agility.
No!
Crowded cells and chains that can't run.
Where's George? I need to see him.
He is dangerous.
I think it's time for me to turn the mill around.
We're gonna die!
Probably!
We've created the next chapter in natural selection. Project Rampage works.
You got another one of your little science experiments running around.
What do you mean another one? Incoming!
Sound the alarm, it's time to cross the line.
Of course, the wolf flies.
Stop me. Oh, somebody stop me. Stop me. Please, somebody stop me. Stop me. Oh, somebody stop me.
It's time we throw everything we can at these things and get people the hell out of that city.
Let's go save the world. That's a big arm. Don't fight it.
You know there are other ways of dealing with people, right?
I do know that, yeah, but that's no fun. Thanks, buddy.
This is Charlie with Give Me Back My Action Movies.
And Dan.
Join us every 2 weeks as we dive into the classic action movies of the 80s and 90s.
That's right, Charlie. But we also take a look at some of the current films out there that still has those nostalgic feels for us.
Exactly. So make sure you find us on all your major podcasting platforms.
And check us out over on Facebook. We have a group where the conversation's always going 24/7.
We're having a good time.
I think so.
I'll be back.
All right, and that was the trailer for Rampage, and of course you got the commercial there for our brothers over at Give Me Back My Action Movies. Make sure you are checking that out, as well as all the other shows on the network. Man, we are growing, and it's tons of great content. Almost anything you can think of you would want, you could find at Give Me Back My Podcast Network. Join all the groups and all that jazz. Okay, here we go. Let's jump into this. So, quick synopsis for the movie. This movie is based off of a 1986 video game by the same name, Rampage. And in this movie, you've got the main character, Davis, played by none other than Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who is a primatologist, former Special Forces. And when he got out of Special Forces, he kind of hunted down poachers, pretty much, and saved, endangered species, but primarily gorillas. And in the process of that is when he found George as a child. He saved George. His mother was actually being butchered by the poachers at the time, and Davis took them all out. He had an epic line in the movie. What happened? They shot and missed. I didn't. Because he's The Rock. He's the man, So he saves George, and then the movie starts off at his compound where George is at, and get introduced to the characters there, and you find out at the same time that there's a company called Energen who has been making a genetic engineering, not virus, but it's like a
good question.
What would you call it? I mean, it's a gas, but pretty much it's a genetic engineering weapon, because they end up telling them at the beginning of the movie that that the government says you can no longer do this because it could be considered a weapon of mass destruction. And you find out very early on that those that are infected with it become monstrous. They actually continue testing in a space station. And on the space station, they test it out on a rat. The rat becomes from a little tiny rat to like this big 6-foot monster rat that kills everybody on the space station. They end up getting a lone survivor. She manages to escape with 3 capsules full of the it's called CRISPR. I just don't know what you would call it. Do they describe what it is?
Well, this says it's a gene manipulation company.
Yeah. So it manipulates the genes. It's just it's a gas.
Yeah, and it's a pathogen. Yeah, they call it a pathogen in the movie.
And they goes by the name called codename CRISPR. So this scientist gets off the space station with 3 of them. Unfortunately, she dies upon re-entry. But it just so happens that one of these lands in the Everglades in Florida, one lands in the woods in Colorado or Wisconsin. Wyoming. That's right. My bad. And then one lands in George's pen.
In San Diego.
And what happens is, of course, George goes to inspect. It busts open. The CRISPR gas comes out and infects George. In Wyoming, a wolf walks up to it, opens up, infects the wolf. In Florida, gets swallowed by a gator and infects the gator. And so George grows overnight like 4 more feet, a couple hundred more pounds. He's actually killed a grizzly bear. And Davis is like, we got to figure out what's going on with him. And very quickly, George continues to grow, but he also starts to get more and more angry because the side effect for CRISPR is it increases violence in the suspect. Or suspect. That's not the correct word.
On the victim, I guess.
On the victim. So George breaks out of the compound. And of course, you got the brother-sister duo who runs Energen is trying to get their product back. And the only way to do so is to get George or the wolf, or they don't know about the gator till the end.
They don't know about the gator till the end.
Back to their facility in Chicago so that they can get the samples out so they can still continue to work on CRISPR, because it's all about money making for them. So they turn on this beacon at the top of their skyscraper, and all of a sudden, George, the wolf, and the gator make a beeline straight for Chicago. And it's up to Davis and another character who is actually my favorite character, Russell. He's an what is it? OGA agent, other government agency agent, OGA agent, played by Dean Morgan, Negan. From
Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Of course, you all know him as Negan from The Walking Dead. So it's up to Davis, Russell, and then, of course, an ex-Energen scientist played by Naomi Harris. Her name is Kate, to try and stop these monstrous beasts from destroying Chicago. They get to Chicago. They find out that there's actually is an antivirus, or not an antivirus. It stops the progression of them growing and negates the violent aspect of it as well. So they end up having to go into Energen, get the virus or the antivirus. They only fortunately get one, and they got to find a way to give it to George so that they can help stop the other animals that are showing up. And the best way to do that is such an awesome scene as they shove it into the Energen boss. I can't remember the sister's name because who cares about them? Claire. They're jerks, and you can't wait for them to die, and it's absolutely awesome. Shoves it into her purse, and then they feed her to George, and that's how George gets the antivirus, and it's awesome. So the building comes crumbling down because you got Lizzie, of course, I'll go into this in a minute, but the gator, and then Ralph, and you got the wolf, and George have all climbed to the top of it. It can't take the weight. It falls, crashes. Everyone, the three of them, of course, survive, but then so does Davis and Kate, and George is back to his normal self. He's no longer a raging or a raging animal. He recognizes Davis, and it's up to the Rock, the big and the bigger George, to take down Ralph and Lizzie and save Chicago. Of course, they do. An epic, just amazing giant monster movie, just action, and that's it. So, I mean, that's all you need to know. Okay, giant monsters, which are giant animals, attacking a city. The Rock and one of the animals has to save the city and everybody else, and they do so successfully, and it's a happy ending, and you don't need anything else. So this movie, of course,
very comical ending.
Oh, very, 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 very much so.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Shred Fleestack here, coming to you with a special news bulletin. A large Nix Falls bank is currently descending on Antonio Bay. Latest meteorologist reports declare the density at dangerously high levels. This will make things like driving visibility very difficult and the roadways hazardous. Local authorities are advising to stay indoors unless of an emergency. Local reports are also coming in of people being seen in the fog. Descriptions of ragged clothes and a foul odor suggest possible homeless community members. For further updates, please tune in to Stevie Wayne at KAB Radio 1340. This is Shred Fleestack. Stay safe out there.
And, of course, this movie came out in April of 2018. It was directed by Brad Payton, which Brad Payton and The Rock have worked together before previously. They did, now I never saw it, but one of the Journey to the Center Earth movies, I think they did the second one together. They also did San Andreas together, and I'll be honest, I didn't even watch that one either, and I don't know why, because I love Rampage, so I might go back and revisit it. But Brad Payton directed the film. Of course, this was produced by The Rock and a few others. On this one, it had a budget of about $140 million, did like 480 almost in the box office. So this was, even though this movie met mixed reviews, this was by all means a box office hit. Even with a $140 million budget, I mean, $480 is what it cleared in the box office almost. Did extremely well. They actually were wanting to do a sequel, and it's still in the works, but they've kind of put it on the back burner for some other properties. Because they were able to do this movie because Warner Brothers bought Midway, and Midway came with like 30-something properties, IP properties that they were using, and this was just the first one they kind of dug out of the Midway pile. So let's jump into this one, okay? Now, let me dig into it a little bit real quick. Just so those who know, this, again, is based off of a video game from 1986 that was created by Midway, and the only difference, man. Okay, I told Mark this before we started recording. Like, I'm hesitant now as far as what information I reveal to everybody because of the Test Your Mind segment. I gave you all the Arnold Schwarzenegger answer last time. I'm like, oh no, what do I say? But I'm just going to go with it. So the major difference between the game and the movie is in the game they're actually humans that get transformed into these animals, you know what I mean? So it's a human that gets transformed into George, Ralph, and Lizzie. and they're transformed on different things. It's in the movie, it's a gas, but in the game, George was transformed from a vitamin. I'm trying to remember these. Lizzie was from a radiated lake, and Ralph was from a food additive of some kind. And that's what changes them into the monsters that they are. So that's the main difference between the game and the movie. Pretty much other than that, you just got these 3 giant animals destroying a city, and that's what you got in the movie. So, but that's the biggest difference is the fact that they were actually humans, and that, from my understanding, was originally what was supposed to be in the movie. The original script was supposed to be a lot scarier, and they were going to be humans that were mutated, but they scrapped that.
So they become. I've never played the game before, so they just become mutated humans or some kind of animal.
No, the humans become mutated animals.
You mutated animals.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So George mutates from human into the gorilla, and then Ralph mutates from the human into the wolf, and then Lizzie mutates from human into the big lizard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
So that was that part.
Because I've never played it either.
Oh man, what a fun game! Like you guys need to go back and play Rampage. Like that is one of those games that's like you just get addicted to for hours. Because, there's a crap ton of levels in this game. A lot of levels. I never beat the game because it's just a ridiculous amount. I think it's like 750, 760 something levels.
Wow. Bad.
It's insane.
That's long. Wow.
Well, and a lot of it's really just kind of repeats because you go from like one place in Illinois through a bunch of different cities back to another city in Illinois, like a big circle. And you just have to destroy everything. And that's it. Like, eat everybody inside, destroy everything inside. Like, it's just Rampage. It's just so much fun.
Yeah.
And they had several sequels. There's like 6, 7 different sequels to the game, and it was a successful series. So, but let's jump into what we thought about the movie. So, Ruben, you want to take this one? Go first.
Sure, I'll go first. I've never played. I already mentioned it. I've never played the video game. Didn't even have the urge to go watch the movie because I did not. I'm very jaded when it comes to video game movies. Okay, because it's very hard.
There's a lot of bad ones out there.
There's a lot of bad ones. So I'm like, I said I don't know about this. So I started watching. So
yes,
yeah. So I put it in and I started watching it. And how it started and everything. And I'm like, man, I said this is a great movie. Why are more people not talking about this movie? As far as giant monsters go, it checks a lot of the boxes for a great giant monster movie. It does. So as I'm watching it, I'm watching it because I don't know anything about it. So I loved it. It was enough action in it to keep you engaged throughout the movie. I thought it was, maybe I'm being a little rough on this movie, but I thought it was strange. Why are they testing it in space versus in a lab? Why, what's the reasoning behind that? And, all I can think of is the only reasoning is because they needed to, go plummeting to Earth and land in different places, so they said, yeah, let's just make it in space. That's a good way to get it transported to, 3 different locations in the United States. So the movie was a lot of fun. I jotted down some notes because when we get to the Stompdown rating, I'll explain it a little bit more. But this movie was great, but it just, man, there was so many missed opportunities that I saw throughout the movie that I'm like, man, they should have done this, or man, they should have done that. And so I'm just going to tell you the things I didn't like about it, and then so I can expand on what I did like about it. I thought it was a typical formula movie for The Rock.
Oh,
basically.
Yeah. Oh,
It's just a basic formula movie. It's just a vehicle for The Rock. It's what, for Dwayne Johnson. It's just a vehicle for The Rock. They cast him, and the rest of the cast is just like, do the best you can. Here's some weak dialogue and go for it.
Especially with
that's it.
Kate,
go ahead.
Naomi Harris's character. I was like, man, they did not care when it came to your dialogue at all.
They didn't, and I don't blame her for that. I don't blame any of the characters. They're just reading their lines, and I'm like, so I thought that brought down the movie. To me, that brought down the movie. But the story was like I said, it's a formula. The story was formulated, but it was still pretty cool. I want to say original, but because I've never played the video game, but I don't know how original it really is as compared to the video game because I've never played it. So to me, it was just original enough to keep me engaged. I thought the special effects were pretty good. I mean, they weren't. There's nothing that I noticed that glared out to me. So it's a fun. I'm assuming this was a summer blockbuster movie.
Hey, it came out in April.
April. Okay, well, not even
18th, I think.
Really? Okay, so it's not even it wasn't even summer blockbuster yet. Yeah, so it was more like an Easter movie, and everybody's home for Easter.
Yeah.
And but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it thoroughly. As a matter of fact, I made a comment before the show that I'm going to go back and watch it again. That's how much I enjoyed it. I come down on it for being kind of, very formulaic, but a lot of movies are like that. So I'm like, especially when it comes to, I would say in this day and age, The Rock is a legitimate movie star now. He's gone from, he's a legitimate movie star. He's not terrible at what he does. He's not, he's just, he found a niche, and that's what they're going to, he's always going to be cast the same way, and he's basically he probably just takes his wardrobe with him because it's the same in every movie
it is.
that I've seen.
Much like, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I was getting at. You had, Sylvester Stallone and Schwarzenegger and all of them fell into that Steven Seagal, all those guys, the action hero stars and monster movies and stuff, they fall into that formula. Bruce Lee. I mean, heck, he's a good example of somebody who's great at his craft, but he just got niched. I mean, let's face it. Do you see Adam West as anybody else other than Batman?
No.
You don't. You just don't.
The mayor and Family Guy. The mayor and Family Guy.
Yeah, exactly. He's just automatically Batman, no matter what. And The Rock, I mean, I haven't seen him in anything that's any different. Like you said, you haven't watched San Andreas.
No.
It's your typical action movie.
Yeah,
it's great. I like it.
The Fast and Furious movies,
collapsing skyscrapers, The Rock in a helicopter. It's all there.
He's got to be in a helicopter at least once in every one of his movies. That's the thing.
And I mean, in that one, it's just the way it is. And the only thing that San Andreas has is it has two beautiful women in it. And that gives it the upper edge. Not that there weren't beautiful women in this one, but there were very beautiful women in San Andreas. Okay, we're talking about Alexandra D'Andrio, and I forget that. I always forget that other one because I only know her from that Pauly Shore movie. I can't remember the name of it. She actually plays The Rock's ex-wife in it. And anyway, they're both beautiful women. San Andreas. That's all I'm going to say. But it falls into formula. So I gig it for that. And a monster movie, but it's a great monster movie. I mean, is it King Kong or Godzilla, which are perfect monster movies? No, it's not. But and I think I gig it for that too, because I hold giant monster movies to a different standard than I do other movies because of that. But I enjoyed it. So the bottom line is, when I go sit to watch a movie, did I enjoy it? Yes, I did. Did I get lost in it? I mean, for lack of a better term, in other words, when I sat there, did I suspend reality and go into that world? And that movie just brought me in just enough I did. That I sat there and it drew me in. So that's all really I have to say about it. I mean, all in all, it's a great movie. The two gigs I gave it were pretty big gigs, but all in all, I mean, man, it's a fun movie, and I'm going to go watch it. I'm going to sit there and I'll watch it again. I may even go out and buy the 4K if they have it. Because
I even watched it twice before the show. Like I watched it once, I'm like, I'm going to watch it again because it's just fun.
It's just it's just so much fun. That fun factor is what negates some of the negative that I found in the film. And the thing is too, I saw so much potential. Like, man, they could have really done some good stuff here that they kind of missed the opportunity. But then again, it's a video game movie, so they had a target audience, that they were trying to hit. So, but yeah, all in all, man, I'd say it's a great, fun flick. And I'm gonna pass it on to one of you guys.
Well, and I agree with what Ruben's saying, and I think that when I go out and to watch a giant monster movie or a monster movie, comedy's not what I'm looking for. When I do that, so I'm wanting to see something scary. I'm wanting to get scared, get the adrenaline going, getting pumped up. But this movie has enough comedy in it to make it really good.
Yeah, especially between George and Davis.
Oh yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
That's
great.
I forgot to mention that those interactions between them are just
they're perfect.
Absolutely, and and that's what I'm saying. You suspend reality, and that's what a giant monster movie should suspend reality for you, where you don't question that gorilla and the Rock are actually having a conversation, and you just sit there and say, well, it's happening. You know,
and it does. I mean, it does.
You don't question it, and you don't say, "Oh, that's so unrealistic." You sit there and you enjoy it. Some people might say it's mind numbing, but I don't think so because
I think
it's what makes the movie great. It's what makes a good movie is it's able to suck you in.
Yeah. It makes that part believable. What was the gorilla's name? Coco. The gorilla.
Coco.
Yeah. That could do sign language and actually communicate.
Yeah.
And so that doesn't.
This is how often my mind goes into movies. You're like, is his name Coco? I'm like, that's not the name of the gorilla from Congo. I'm like, no, you're talking about
I was like, wait, I'm talking about a real one. Not a live one, but a real one. But that makes it a little bit more believable. Not that he's a giant ape, but the ape. George and Davis communicate, and they can communicate. They just take it to the next limit when George flips him off, or that kind of stuff. I think overall movies, I loved it. I picked it. I mean, I was ready to watch it again, and so I think overall, don't have anything bad to say about it, any negatives. Didn't play the game, but one of the things in reading up about this movie, that the script was actually taken real loosely from an actual true story. And
really?
Oh yeah. And so that's what I was reading up on. Yeah. It was a trial that they got some of
the went awry, huh?
Yeah, they got some of the script from. So pretty good movie overall. It'll show in my stomp rating, and I give it a thumbs up.
Hey, I forgot to mention, okay, you have Flash Thompson from Spider-Man in this. You have Negan from Walking Dead in this.
Yep.
I mean, hold on, I had one more on there. And, I wanted to give credit to Jason Lyles, the guy who plays George, who does the...
Oh, yeah, the motion actor.
Oh, my God, he did a sensational job on there. And I had to look him up. I'm like, who is it that does that? And actually, he worked on Godzilla.
Yeah. Jason's one of the guys, if I'm not mistaken, TJ Storm, who worked with Jason on the Godzilla films with Legendary.
Right.
They both went to Andy Serkis's school for that. So, I mean, they're both phenomenal suit motion actors.
Yeah, I thought he did a great job on that. Yeah, he did. I do want to get, and it's so funny. I saw Burke. I'm like, where do I know that guy from? And I'm like, man, he looks so familiar. So I looked him up, and of course, he's done a bunch of stuff, but the one I recognized was he was Flash Thompson in Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 3, the original trilogy.
Yeah, the Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, the original, the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. He was the Flash Thompson in the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
He's also in the Pee Wee Herman movie that came out on Netflix a few years ago.
Yeah, he's in that, and apparently he did that. He's Deathstroke, but he does he uncredited in Deathstroke, and only in the Zack Snyder.
Only in the Zack Snyder cut you could see him. Yep.
Only in a Zack Snyder cut.
Currently.
He plays Deathstroke. Currently. Yeah. So, but I said, man, I know him from somewhere. And I saw that he had credits for that. I'm like, but it was uncredited. And I'm like, oh, but I thought I'd throw that out there. I forgot all about that. I'm like, man, this.
You got some good people in the cast. Yeah. Real good in the cast.
I mean, if you get Jeffrey Dean Morgan and he plays an awesome, I'm stealing Mark's time here, but
you're
yeah.
fine.
As soon as I saw Jeffrey Dean Morgan, I even text you. Any movie with Negan has got me. That's it. I'm in. And he plays pretty much the same character as Negan does on Walking. I don't know if you guys either one of you watched Walking Dead, but it was not a straight same type of demeanor and all that. So and I love this gun. That pearl handled gun was awesome.
Oh, that thing was beautiful.
That was a beautiful gun that he had. And but yeah, so I forgot to mention that. I'm sorry, Mark.
Oh no, you're fine. You're fine. I was finishing up and then turning it over to the boss over here.
Well, the boss man.
Man, boss man loved it, dude. Like, I love this movie. I was talking to Pete about it the other day, and he'd messaged me, and we both agreed it's just dumb fun. Like, it really is. Like,
yeah,
the dialogue from some of the characters, like Kate's and the brother of the siblings own Energen, it's pretty rough. It's not pretty rough. It's just, it ain't the best dialogue, but it's enough just to get them to pass by.
And she just doesn't. I've seen her in rom-coms, and all of a sudden she's a villain, and I'm like, no, it's not believable for me.
Well, she was in.
maybe I haven't seen her as a villain. I just seen her in The Proposal and I don't know, 12 Dresses or something.
If I'm not mistaken, she plays Shriek in. Isn't that who plays Shriek in Venom? Let It Be Carnage? Yeah. She plays Shriek.
Is she Shriek? Is that right? Okay,
that's her.
I didn't realize.
Yeah, she did great as Shriek. I don't know what happened in Rampage, but
I don't know either.
But The Rock does a great job. The Rock does The Rock like only The Rock does. You know what I mean? In this movie, and but they gave him some of the best dialogue though. Like, I thought some of the jokes that were put into the dialogue for him was perfect. Like when he knocks out those army dudes. So they can get the evac helicopter to go to the Chicago, and he's like, I'm gonna put you to sleep. I'm gonna make him pee his pants or whatever, And then he's choking that dude out. He's like, don't fight it. It's a big arm. Don't fight it. It's like, dude, like, and he just delivered perfectly. I mean, that comedy element was perfect, and a lot of it was kind of by The Rock at The Rock's expense, which made it perfect. Now Jeffrey Dean Morgan, dude, him as Russell, like, I was like, okay, Rock's killing it. But everyone else sucks. But then I was like, you need somebody to kind of go toe-to-toe with him. And then here comes Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
And he's absolutely awesome in this movie. Like, him and Rock are great. Even when he's alone and not in scenes with Rock, he's just absolutely awesome. There's a scene when he gets to the Energen building, and the one brother's trying to escape with the rat.
Yeah.
He's like, look, man, all right, let's make a deal. Because I'm about to arrest you. And he looks out the front window, the front doors, because he knows the monsters are on top. Billy destroyed. He's like, and this dude's an idiot. Not Jeffrey Dean Morgan, but the brother. Yeah. And he's like, how about you give me the laptop that's in your bag, and I'll just let you go. And he's like, all right, So he hands the laptop. He's like, you go about and have your day. And then he walks out them doors, and as soon as he goes out the doors, and it's coming, big massive chunk of the building just splat, blood all over the window, and he was even like, ooh, that was rough.
It splattered all over that glass.
And I know you haven't seen Walking Dead, but that's how he does it.
I'm going to have to watch Walking Dead.
How about you leave that rat? How about you leave your little friend? Because he has that rat.
Right here.
Okay, and I'm like, man, this guy. Man, I was like,
he thought more about that rat.
He did him. Yeah, he's like,
he didn't want the rat to die.
I mean, those two were great. I mean, as far as the characters and actors, I really could care less about everybody else. They were just there to keep the plot moving. But those two stole the show. They were top notch.
Yeah,
but
George
along with them, was George. George really carried. I mean, those were the 3 stars. Those 3: George, Davis, and Russell, and they were phenomenal all the way through. I absolutely loved it. The banter between George and Davis, I mean, getting the backstory about him saving George, making it personal, and then seeing almost like college buddies, you know what I mean? Like the way that they go back and forth, giving each other a hard time was super, super awesome. The monster action in it, or they're animals, but I mean, was just superb. I mean, like, it's great, but you're really waiting for that moment for George to get back to normal so that George and The Rock can take on Ralph and Lizzie. And it's everything you want it to be, I mean, it's awesome. There's very little I didn't like about the movie, just because, I mean, this isn't Godzilla. This isn't King Kong. Okay. It's dumb blockbuster fun. It really is. But it's so good at being what it is. it is just an absolute blast of a movie to watch. There's no way you can not enjoy it. Like, we've had people comment when we released the poster for the episode yesterday, or was it yesterday? I don't remember. Earlier in the week.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
The people were commenting like, "Oh man, this is a great movie," because a lot of people dogged this movie, but everybody's been commenting and messaging and going, "No, man, this movie is great and deserves more than it gets," and because it is, man, it is such a fun movie.
When it first starts out, and I told you about this earlier, my first reaction is, "Oh no, they got these mercenaries. They're going to go out and they're going to be running from all over the place trying to redneck and kill these monsters and all this." And I was so excited when they just wiped them out. Wiped them out
and
real quick.
Ralph annihilated them so fast.
And it's so funny you say that, because I thought when I was talking about formulas, I'm like, I thought the same thing. I was like, oh, here we go. It's going to be Rock against this guy.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and they're going to go head to head. You know, this is going to be the resident tough guy.
Yeah.
You know, this is going to be the Wesker or the whatever you want to call it, Resident Evil Wesker. You know,
Ralph's
this guy's going to be, nope.
He's going to be lunch.
And so I was surprised. I'm like, this is different.
Oh yeah.
You know, and then I see Negan, government agent, and I'm like, here we go. You know, but even that broke formula a little bit. You know, they weren't enemies, not true, and I mean they didn't have to go head to head. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right. So
you had those little teasing moments, you know, where they kind of
teasing moments, but never really did it come out. I'm like, you know, he never really had an adversary. Every time you thought he had one, they end up getting eaten by a wolf, or
they save the adversary for what you want, and that's him and George against the other two giant monsters.
The other two giant monsters,
and they handled it great. I mean, what's The Rock going to do? Don't worry, they make it work. You know what I mean? The Rock does just as much as George does when it comes to fighting Lizzie and Ralph. And it was just superb. I mean, the only things I didn't like about the movie, honestly, and it's not but another thing I really liked, again, because when I played the video game, is the Easter eggs in the movie. And
yes,
you know,
wanted to hear this. You told me about that one.
Super cool ones. But of course, the most obvious one is that everyone should pick out is when you're in the office of the Claire and her brother at Energen. They have a Rampage arcade sitting there. So I mean, that was, you know,
really, I didn't even notice that.
Yep. So it's in there. So that's the clear one. But then the other ones that I picked out that I was able to see was super freaking cool. One of them is if you pay attention to George as he's destroying Chicago there when they first get there, when he's still, you know, just a madman.
Crazed and
all raged out. There's a point where he punches into the building, and then he pulls out a woman.
Yeah, I saw that.
Or a guy, whatever, or he pulls out a guy and eats her. That's straight from the game. Like that's how you eat some of the people in the building. You punch into the window and you pull the dude out, and then you eat the guy. Okay, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. Like, because they make a point to show that. And then the other one was how Claire dies. The whole red dress. The whole point of her being in red dress is in the opening of Rampage. That's what happens. He eats the girl in a red dress who goes falling into his mouth. So I was like, that's cool. You know what I mean? So for me, from the gaming aspect, I'm like, man, you changed the story a bit, but that's okay. Dumb fun. You threw in Easter eggs for me to enjoy. So, I mean, I love this movie. So the only complaint I had was there was a few times and not much. Again, I mean, Ruben, I don't think you said the CG didn't really, nothing stuck out. There's a couple things when it comes to the matting of the green screen between The Rock and some of the background stuff that did stick out a little bit to me. But again, it's so much fun. I let it pass. You know what I mean? It wasn't a big deal.
And it's so much fun to me. I just ignored it. I didn't even notice it because, you know, I thought it drew me in enough that I didn't, you know, I was so much into the story that it didn't bother me, and I didn't even notice it.
Yeah, and it doesn't happen often. I mean, right now I'm just thinking of just two spots in the movie where I'm like, y'all could have done a little bit better blending this together. But other than that, the only other complaint was, again, it's not a complaint because of the way that the direction they went with the movie, but in the game, you know, they're humans that get mutated into these creatures. They didn't do that in this, obviously, but they went with a different route with the story entirely, you know, on how they handle it. So I'm not going to complain too much. You know what I mean? Maybe in that original script, you know, I know it's supposed to be darker and more violent. They probably maybe went that route, but that's my only two little tiny nitpicks. Other than that, I love this movie, and I mean, I think it's Stompdown rating time. All right. Collectively, even though Ruben was the sour patch
downer.
kid.
He was the downer. Hey, Debbie.
This movie, though, overall got a 4 out of 5 stomps from us because it's that much fun. It's a blast. But Ruben, he gave it a little bit less, but not enough to change it.
But I gave it a 3.5. I gave it a 3.5. That's what I gave it, and only because I think if I would have played the video game, and I would have probably maybe upped it to a 4. And other than that, and only because I've seen I've seen plenty of rock movies, and it was so much to the rock formula that it kind of brought it down. What's the term I can use? It wasn't original enough for me, because that makes sense. It was plenty of fun, but it wasn't original enough for me. But I still love the movie, like I mentioned before. I would still go watch it. I'm going to watch it again. For me, the ultimate compliment is, am I willing to go purchase a hard copy of it? And so if I am, then it's worth, for me, then it's a good movie. And I would, if I went over to wherever you get hard copies now, Best Buy is pretty much the only place now, and it was there, I would buy it.
Oh yeah, because it's worth it, man. It's so much fun. So much fun. So that, to me, I mean, if that holds any water for you guys, I would definitely have a hard copy of it, because I'd like to watch it other than streaming. Yeah,
everything's streaming nowadays. I understand, but that's
some movies are worth having. That's hard copy.
Yeah, I mean, and I've always done it that way. When I was younger, Mark might remember more than Sludge here. I wouldn't buy an album unless there was at least 3 songs on it, or three tracks that I enjoyed. Otherwise, it did not get my money. That band did not get my money, because I'm not going to spend, back then, $6 for an album? I was not going to spend $6 on an album just for one track that they would throw on the radio.
That's
cool.
cool.
I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that, And so there was plenty of bands that I said, you're not getting my money, because you only put out one track and the rest was garbage. You're not doing it. But I know right now $6 sounds like nothing. But back then, for teenage Ruben, that was a lot of money.
Yes.
And I'm like, no, Record Bar had it on sale for $5.99, or Camelot Music, back in the day. Those are the 2 national chains I can think of. There was plenty of local stuff, but so I use that same concept with movies. Hey, is it worth? It's either worth my hard copy, or it's not. And is it worth 4K, or is it Blu-ray? That's my rating for buying a movie, and I would buy the 4K on this one, definitely.
Oh yeah, because most of the CG is really, really good. So
it's good enough. Yeah.
All right, guys, there you go. 4 out of 5 stomps. We highly recommend this one. Don't expect a big Oscar-winning movie. Just expect it to get you a bowl of popcorn
and
just
enjoy.
Oh yes,
enjoy.
It is just so much fun.
This is the type of movie, like, if you have, I don't have. Oh, by the way, I got an announcement here. Afterwards, if you have kids, man, this is the kind of that you set up your screen in the backyard, invite all their friends over.
Oh yeah,
with popcorn, and just let them sit there on the projector and just watch the movie.
Oh yeah,
the kids will love it. The kids will love it, man.
Yeah,
I tell you, they will. And now for my big announcement, RJ is engaged.
Oh, congratulations.
What are you saying congratulations for? We've already told him congratulations. Don't lie to the listeners. We've known.
I didn't say that.
Did I tell you guys already?
Oh, yeah.
Tell you guys,
but we were supposed to stay quiet.
Yeah,
until everyone else
see
knew.
there, I'm acting the part. I'm getting it out there. All right. Good job,
but
RJ.
you know what? Yes, we can officially announce it. RJ, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Man. Yeah. Now he hasn't announced it yet, but he's supposed to get the... because I don't know.
Oh, wait, he hasn't announced
I'm going to tell you something about the listeners.
Are we supposed to be saying this on air?
Yeah.
Okay,
fine.
I'm just making sure, because the last time I was like, wait.
It's already happened. It's already happened. Okay. He hasn't announced it because he hasn't gotten the pictures back. Because apparently now you just can't just propose to your girlfriend. It's got to be some big scene with pictures and video. It's got to be recorded for posterity and all this other stuff.
Oh yeah.
So he hasn't announced it on his his social media, but it's going to happen on Friday, which our show comes out on Saturday, so I think it's okay to say.
Okay,
yeah.
okay,
There we go.
Good. We're good then.
And it's not like our listeners follow RJ anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Jeez.
I know some of our listeners know because he's been on a couple of shows, but
needs to
he
come
popped
back.
the question.
Yes,
He popped the question, and so it's official.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations,
Good
RJ,
job.
from all of us
Yes.
at the Monster Movie Stompdown. So,
All right.
and to your new bride-to-be, we are sorry.
No,
No, just kidding. So
it's funny you say that when he called us, he did it on Sunday, but he called us like at 11 to say they finally did it. Them young people stay up late. I was ready for bed. But I sent him the clip. I don't know if you guys are ever watched Seinfeld. Have you guys ever?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
So I sent him the clip of when George calls his parents to tell him that he's getting married. And she's, his mom says, well, let me talk to her. So she gets on the phone. She goes, oh, let me tell you, I love your son very much. And then the mom says, really? Can you tell me why? And I just thought it was so much. So as soon as he said it was official, I sent him that clip. Do you mind me asking why? And I just thought that was hilarious. But yeah. So we're going to have a wedding probably sometime before Christmas is what they're thinking.
that's awesome.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations,
Yes.
RJ. So, all right, guys. So, again, go check out Rampage. But you know what time it is? It is time to test your might.
Test your might. Test your might. Test your might. Test your might. Test your might.
All right. So, before we get into this, poor Mark.
Oh yes.
Poor Mark had to suffer watching another. I didn't have to this time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, Mark, let us know, man. How great was Zontar the Thing from Venus?
That was 120 minutes of pure depression.
120 minutes?
That's 120 minute long. Yes, I had to sit through it. 120 minutes. Yes, it was.
So I'm going to be honest with you. I knew it was bad. I ain't seen the whole movie. I ain't never watched the whole thing at all.
Oh my goodness! At least
Well,
my pick, I'd seen
my
it, so I
gosh.
knew it was bad from start to finish.
I've seen I
It
started
is horrible.
it. I started it
Horrible.
and I was like, I ain't finishing this crap.
yeah,
This is
yeah.
so bad. And I was like,
Yeah.
I'm saving this for Mark.
It started out stupid and then it finished stupid. It was. I recommend nobody go see that or go watch that.
How was John in it? John Agar, because it was John Agar.
When it first started out, I thought, well, okay, man, I'm used to him. Just the same, just the same all the way through. Another, bland. Bland is the word I think I would use, but it just wasn't.
Well, thank goodness I tied then.
Oh yeah,
Because I thought I'll have to. I thought, at first time, when he said, "Well, I'm picking the movie," I'm like, "Well, dang, I'm gonna have to watch a movie." Then he pointed out, in our messaging,
you two
like, no.
tied.
Yeah,
but you both beat
Right.
me.
Right.
That's why I had that.
Right.
So,
But I was under the impression I had to watch it too.
Oh, well,
no. You still won. That much.
Yeah,
so.
I've watched.
He said, "No, you don't." I'm like, "Oh, then I don't care."
Yeah, Mark's
And I was-
2 for 2. Mark is 2 for 2.
I've had to watch 2 of them. So
And so now, which one before we get into the questions here? Because Charlie sent us some questions. We haven't seen any of them yet, so we're going to jump into that here in just a second. But which would you pick, Zontar or Captain Kronos?
Oh yeah,
Captain Kronos.
Holy crap! And that's a bad
right.
movie. Like, oh wow,
without a doubt.
I don't know if I should apologize to Mark for making him watch Zontar or not. Now. I'm gonna have to rethink what movies
Ship
I-
of Monsters or Zontar. Ship of Monsters. Ship them. Which one would you
Ship of
pick?
Monsters
Ship
or Zontar?
Oh,
he was like,
oh. I would watch Ship of Monsters.
wow.
Oh yeah,
Man,
this movie
that's
was
how-
bad.
That's
It's bad,
how
bad.
good of a job you did, Sludge. Is you
Yes.
picked it.
It's
something
so
you
bad.
heard.
It is so bad. And again, I haven't seen the whole movie. I only saw a few minutes of it. It was like, I'm not watching this
Oh,
crap.
it's terrible. It is terrible.
But it's so bad. There's not even a trailer for it. Like a trailer does not exist. There's a fan made one, which is just a few minutes of the movie on YouTube. But as far as I know,
So-
Pete, You let me know.
So this was released in theaters back, I assume, in the.
I have
I don't
no
even know
idea.
anything about it.
I just found that John Agar was in it. I'm like, I haven't seen this one with John. Let's find it. Found it. Nope. Didn't make it through.
Was it black and white or color?
Color.
Yep.
Yeah, it was color.
Like
okay, so it wasn't as old as I thought.
Yeah,
I'm like,
no.
yeah.
All right.
All right, I'm ready.
You guys ready?
Let's do it.
Yeah. Everyone's got pen and paper. We're going to open the questions right now. Again, of course, we want to thank Charlie Chase from Give Me Back My Action Movies. Of course, he heads up the podcast network. He sends us these questions every episode that we do these, and it's funny because I'm looking at my phone, and just to make sure, I don't know if I thought I was like, man, I wonder if these dudes text him, because you open your inbox on your phone and Google, and it says questions 222, and then the next email says, because he sends them separately, it says answers. But on the questions, it says, because you can see a little bit of the body, it just says, I'm just typing random stuff, so it does ... I'm like, so making sure that I don't see the questions, I guess. So I have no idea what they are. But so I was like, I bet Ruben or Mark messaged him.
Well, let's do it.
Let's get ready to rumble. All right. Yeah, it's all random letters now that I open it. So it doesn't show in the header. So thanks, Charlie. All right. Number one.
Thanks, Charlie. I appreciate that.
Decades after... First question. Decades after the Rampage game was released, the creator Brian Collins stated that Lizzie was based off what movie character? A, Godzilla. Lizzie's the alligator, the lizard. Yeah. A, Godzilla. B, Gamera. Charlie, you need to learn how to spell Gamera. Or C, Ymir.
Ooh, that last one? Ymir. I don't even know what that is.
20 million miles to Earth.
Oh.
Don't you cheat, Mark. Look at my answer.
Why? It ain't gonna matter.
Covering them up.
Hey.
All right. We got our answers? Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Question number 2. What year was... God, see, this is what I'm worried about. I give you guys these answers in the episode. Number 2. What year was the game Rampage released to arcades? A, 1983. B, 1986. Or C, 1987.
And I don't know. I didn't hear you say anything about that.
I said it twice.
What did you say?
Man, I almost blurted it out.
What movie do I got to watch?
Mark was trying to be smooth there. What did you say it was? No, I'm not doing that.
All right. Well, let me give you that. Because I'm writing them down.
I'm guessing.
Don't to tell you.
No, don't say anything.
Tell you, right?
No,
okay.
All right, so what year was the game Rampage released? 1983, 1986, or 1987? A, B, or C? Got our answers?
Yep.
Okay. Number 3, before he was The Rock, I may not know this one. Before he was The Rock, what wrestling name did he first wrestle under?
Yeah, I know this one.
A, Samoa Jr., B, Flex Kavana, or C, Rocky Maivia, Maivia. I'm guessing because I'm thinking it's going to be this one, but I don't know. We got our answers.
I'm trashed. It doesn't matter.
I think Ruben got that, at least that one right. Okay,
I got two out of the 3. I know for a fact.
All right,
you gave me one of them.
Number 1. Man, it's hard switching back and forth between these. So Brian Collins stated that Lizzie was based off of what movie character? A, Godzilla, B, Gamera, or C, Ymir? The answer is C, the Ymir. 20 million miles to Earth.
That's what I have. All right, I'm going to sweep this thing.
All right. What year was the game Rampage released to arcades?
I have no idea.
A, 1983,
Really?
B, 1986, or C, 1987? It's B, 1986.
1986.
I started to put
he
that.
said it. He goes, released in 1986. So, man, that tells you how much your co-host is listening to you.
Yeah, he doesn't listen to me at all.
I tell you.
Jeez. Thank you for your cooperation, Mark.
All right, what movie do I have to watch?
All right, before he was, we don't know who's got what right yet. Before he was The Rock, what wrestling name did he first wrestle under? A, Samoa Jr., B, Flex Kavana, and C, Rocky Maivia. The answer is
Maivia.
The answer is B, Flex Kavana.
Oh, shit, I missed that one.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I missed all 3, so it doesn't much matter.
Oh, sorry about that. Sorry about the language there.
Yeah, I wanted to put a beep in. Oh, my God. This is great. He gave an answer to that. I got all 3 right. I actually thought I thought the chances.
What am I watching?
That's what the 2 of you are watching. I won this one.
Yeah.
So just for the Flex Kavana one, He wrestled at Jerry Lawler's United States Wrestling Association as Flex Kavana and won the USWA World Tag Team Championship twice with Brett Sawyer in the summer of '96, shortly before he signed with the WWF, which is pretty cool. So, all right. So now I nailed it down to 2 films, and it's really depending on how much I want to torture the both of you for it. So, Sarah's like, well, because I let her watch the trailers for these movies, one of the ones I was going to pick, and she's like, well, they can either look like they'll have fun or absolutely hate their lives. So, considering how Zontar went, I think I will choose a movie that you guys might hopefully have fun with, and that is going to be It Conquered the World.
Oh, and I think I've seen that.
I've seen that too.
That.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really? Okay, then
No,
scratch that.
no, that's already called.
Oh, wait a minute. No, I've never seen that movie before.
What? I don't know what.
If not, we can go with my second option there. But no, It Conquered the World. I decided to give you all a fun, crappy movie, one of the lower of Roger Corman's forte.
Yeah.
And I'm just so disappointed in myself that I did not know that about The Rock.
Man,
I am so because
boom.
I just
look. You see that, Ruben? It's a big arm. Don't fight it.
It's a big arm. Don't fight. I'm not gonna fight it. It's a big arm. I can't.
There we go. That's
because
that's it right there. Mark pulled up a picture of it.
I thought I knew every wrestler. Now I'm starting to doubt myself.
Oh no,
it's
very
terrible.
much.
I have taken the.
But you know what threw me off?
It's
He actually gave 2 right answers. It was just because Rocky Maivia was his WWE name.
Oh, was it?
So yeah, it was.
See, he
gave 2 answers there, but one of them was before.
Okay, because I've heard Flex Kavana, but I couldn't remember if it was The Rock. But I was like, no, I'm pretty sure that's it. But I never heard of Rocky.
I didn't have a clue.
But nice. I went home to victor. Sweet. All right, man. Thank you guys so much for listening. Hopefully you've enjoyed the show. Now, a couple things real quick. We want to let you know what you got coming out next month. Next month, we have got, since St. Patrick's Day is around the corner, we're going and doing Leprechaun with Ward Davis.
Yeah, coming up.
That introduced the world to Miss Jennifer Aniston, who was on Friends. So we're going to be doing Leprechaun for St. Patrick's Day. And Mark wanted to do a newer giant monster movie, and I think he has a superb choice on this one, Monster Hunter. With I know why you did that.
Why?
Because it's got Mila Jovovich in it.
It does have, yes.
Mila Jovovich is Katie or Phoebe Cates is what it is.
Is she or Phoebe Cates?
That's
Mark.
I don't know that she's my Phoebe Cates though.
Dude, you raved about the Resident Evil movies.
I do. I saw great set of movies.
I hate those movies, man.
Yeah, especially the first one. The very first one, I just love it.
Oh, bet. So. She's great in Fifth Element. I love that. Okay. So we're going to do Monster Hunter.
I like her in Dazed and Confused.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
So
she's in Dazed and Confused.
So, so St. Patty's Day, got Leprechaun for you. Then their giant monster movie next month is Monster Hunter. Now, we do want to let you guys know, because we've been teasing this and letting you know we've got a big announcement coming. We have, starting in April, officially 2 new members joining the Monster Movie Stompdown team. Now, we will fully announce who they are once we get everything finished, getting them finalized on the show. But we do have 2 new people coming, and they're going to help. They're actually going to be handling all the commercials from now on. They'll be handling the different ads for the social media. We are talking about and figuring out a show for them each month. I think it would be really good to incorporate them so that they've got something, because let's be all honest. We've already got 3 people on here. We didn't want to. The guys were like, "Hey, man, let's jump on the show with you," and I wasn't 100% for it.
Hey, honestly, my head's too big. I can't handle it.
He don't need no more. So
ain't no more.
I wasn't. I'm like, I don't want to overflow the show with 5 people. But these dudes are really cool. One of them especially is super nice. One of them can kind of be a little bit of a prick, but that's okay.
But he's got your number.
Yeah. So
already tension.
Well, I'm just saying
it already starts.
These guys are great at what they do. I do love them to death since we've met them. They're super, super awesome. I do want to give one of them a hard time, but so we are working.
I will say this now that it's said and done. One of them I'm peeved at, because he sent me the answers, but he sent me the wrong answers.
Well, I'm pretty sure I know which one did that.
That'll make you bleep.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. So we met with the guys. And the chemistry just seemed to work really well. And like I said, they wanted to help out with the show. They love the show. Big monster movie fans, big Metalhead fans. Well, one of them's a Metalhead fan. One of them likes David Hasselhoff, which we love David Hasselhoff, but he's like all about David. It's really kind of weird.
Yeah.
But so anyways, then we handle the commercials and ads, and we are working on to get them their own show once a month at least, so which will be pretty interesting. Well, they'll kind of give their own spin on the movies that we do that month. So, but we will fully announce them April. That is when they're arriving, and we're pretty stoked about it for them to be joining the team, and we hope you guys enjoy them as well. We think you will. So there's that. Finally, you guys know now we've got new members coming and joining the Monster Movie Stompdown. Also, I will be making a guest appearance on an upcoming network show very soon. I'm not going to say which one, but I am going to say ahead of time that I was super excited about the invite, but then when I had to watch what I had to watch, I'm now pretty pissed off about that invite, so I don't know why I agreed to it. But it's going to be fun either way.
I was about to say, Mark, are we getting invited to?
Oh, we don't get invited to any of that stuff.
Hey, don't
but now that I heard that about
now
that I heard about it, maybe it's good that we didn't get invited.
No, yeah. Glad you didn't get invited for this one. I'm just going to straight up tell you. Be glad. So that's going to be fun. I'm super excited about it. So be looking out and listening to all the other shows. That's why I'm not telling you, because I want you all to go support the other shows. But I will be jumping on another episode on one of the other shows very soon.
Ain't the truth. You just like to tell secrets.
Oh, you know what, Mark?
And then say, well, we can't tell you right now.
I know what show it is, Mark.
Which one is it?
Because one of the new shows that is coming down the pike here, which Sludge hasn't announced, is Godzilla 98. Stompdown.
Oh, it probably is. That's probably what it is.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, if I'd be mad about doing the show, I wouldn't be mad about doing
it's a whole show.
I think
three times a week about Godzilla 98.
Oh yeah,
and all the intricate details of the
It'll
movie.
just be him. He is the only person on the show.
It'll be one recording.
One
recording repeated 3 times a week. No more than that.
Yeah,
so.
it's gonna it's the same thing over again.
I think I did see an email. Celine Dion may guest host.
No,
Sludge, Celine.
Oh man,
not happening at all.
And 98 Godzilla. You got it.
I'll tell you what. Yeah. My wife was listening to the last episode. I think like last night, and when you brought up the Celine Dion tape, she lost it. She thought it was the funniest thing ever. So, all right, guys.
Well, I was funny. I was serious.
That's
I see
not
it.
my tape.
It's set right there. It's there.
It was right.
When I'm done,
is it in a glass case now, Mark?
It is not in a glass
case.
Hey, all I know is when I get done
now.
putting that to digital for my neighbor, it then belongs to Mark. He said, "Give all of this to Mark."
Okay, yeah,
because he thought that would be the right thing to do.
And I will show you. I'm going to dump it in his driveway.
Oh man, that would be so wrong.
You know, Sludge. All you have to do is change the cover out to Mia Jovovich.
There you go. Mark would be like, yeah.
Here you go. I'll take it.
Dude,
Okay.
and he'd fall for that, okay? Because that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to put change the cassette writing on it and make it Gila Jovovich. Because I'm going to tell you one thing. We went and saw Seven Dust when I was in high school. First of all, we saw Creed, but Seven Dust opened up.
Yes.
And we get done, and man, like me and my friends were like, that was the first time we heard Seven Dust, and we're like, dude, that band rules. Because they do. And Mark was like, I hated that band. He's like, I just hated. I didn't like Seven Dust. I'm like, we're like, dude, no, you gotta like Seven Dust.
Tell him why I didn't like Seven Dust. It was an F-bomb every other word.
Yeah, that's very true.
Okay.
It really was. But in the same token, though, he did drop. Jean dropped a lot of F-bombs at that show. But we found out that he actually in the show dropped a lot of F-bombs, particularly at one girl that was on the opposite side. It was a T-stage setup, and we were on one side. We were right there at the front of the stage. And he's like cussing out some girl on the other side, and he makes they kick her out. He makes security come get her. And come to find out,
that bad, huh?
That was my old drummer's girlfriend, who we all hated. So even more, I was like, yes, this band rules, So,
wow.
And she came to see Creed, but she gave him a dirty look, and so he had her escorted out, and she never got to see Creed play.
I
was like,
I can't believe that. I'm like, what did she have to do to get kicked out?
I remember
he was going off.
He was.
Man.
He was like, if you don't like the music, get away. I mean, he was mad. He was mad.
But I will say, why did Creed get Seven Dust to open for him?
They're all from the Jacksonville area in Florida, or like that area, area in Florida. Yeah, they kind of came up knowing each other.
I'm like, that's a bad decision. That's like
Yeah, because Seven Dust puts on a way better show than Creed.
Did we have? I think we had the Guano Apes first, right?
And you didn't like them either because her underwear.
Her underwear tag was hanging out the back of her pants.
He was so mad about it.
And I might have mentioned a story already. If I did, please stop me or cut it out of the show. I remember going to see Wasp, Slayer, and Raven back in '86, Rain and Blood tour. The worst mistake Wasp ever made was putting Slayer on the undercard.
Oh yeah, that's a terrible.
Oh
decision.
My goodness!
I mean,
they were up
Slayer,
and coming. They were up and coming. Slayer was still up and coming, and Wasp was on the way out pretty much. And half the audience left when Slayer got done with their set.
Oh, I can imagine.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, and it was just kind of like, and not only that, Slayer went off stage, and everybody was calling for Slayer to come back out and do, do encores.
We went and saw Seven Dust. They opened for Papa Roach.
Yeah, that was
in Fort
another
Wayne, Indiana.
Bad idea.
This place was packed.
They hold 2,000 to 3,000 people.
Yeah, we were in there. We couldn't move. We were
pushed up against that back bar.
Yeah, I mean, it was unbelievable. Seven Dust come out and rock the house, and then everybody left. Papa Roach
cartwheels through there. It was ridiculous.
Maybe a fourth or half of the people.
Yeah. Not even half. I bet maybe
left.
a fourth if you were lucky.
Yeah, we're left.
It was crazy.
I mean,
so anyways,
and I've never been to a concert where that happened again.
But
and I've been a lot. But man, I'm like, and so that's just sounds just like that, man. That's
crazy. Oh, it is. But so we go see them, and he's like, I hated that band, and so for the next 8 years, I mean, it's a long time. I kept burning CDs, like mixed CDs for him to listen to, and wouldn't tell him who was on it. And he was like, man, I love this song. Man, I love that song. And every song he'd be like, Dad, this song's the bomb. It's Seven Dust. And I ain't saying a freaking word until we go see him again. I talk to you and see him. It was 8 Second Saloon in Indy, I think, wasn't it? Was that the first show we went back and saw him again?
Where was that? I can't remember where.
It was the one that lady yanked my dreads.
I can't remember where we were at.
But
we were in Indianapolis somewhere, I think.
Yeah, so I think it was 8 Second Saloon.
Yeah.
Because it was them and Drowning Pool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, but then he's like, all right, we'll go because you wanted to see Drowning Pool. So we go, and they start playing Black. And he's like, man, I know that song. I'm like, yeah, dude, I've been lying to you for years. Like, I got you turned into a fan. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn the Celine Dion tape into a Mila Jovovich tape.
I hear you.
Oh, they're so good.
I hear you.
So, all right, guys, man, thank you all again so much. Make sure and check out the shows next month for Leprechaun for St. Patty's Day, and then, of course, Monster Hunter. And make sure, go check us out on all the socials, man. Go to Facebook, join the group. We want you to just talk to us and have fun. We got a lot of interaction going on there. Go follow us on Instagram. And please, please, please go check out all the other shows on the network because these dudes are amazing. We love them to death, and we promise that you'll be entertained. Again, thank you all so much. This is Sludge.
And Mark.
And you got Ruben in Texas.
Y'all have a good night.
Good night.
Come on, you think you want to live forever?
Now what?
But no matter what happens, Godzilla will